What's up guys, Sean 4103 come back at you another video, and today we are going to be doing a review of WandaVision. So WandaVision's final episode came out 2 weeks ago. I was going to try and do this video last week, but I just needed more time to process the show, and also a lot of stuff came up, and I've been super busy, so I haven't really had the time to sit down and do a video about it. But that's happening right now. So basically, what we're going to do is I'm going to go episode by episode and just give my general thoughts about each episode, and then at the end of the video I will do a complete series review. Also, if you enjoy this WandaVision review, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me out a lot. Share this video with your friends and family so that it gets around, and it really helps me out a lot to know that people are watching. If you like this type of stuff, subscribe, because I do all sorts of TV shows and movies like Marvel, DC, just straight up action, Disney, Pixar, all this other stuff. I have so many videos planned. I just need to find the time to do them. And today is actually the day, or I guess the night or morning. It's currently really early. I think it's like 1 a.m. and in 2 hours the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier drops. And I think for Falcon and the Winter Soldier I'm going to try doing reviews for every episode. I'm going to attempt to do that and try. If that doesn't work out, then I will follow it up with whatever episodes I missed. So anyway, without further ado, let's just jump right into the review and talk about the magnificent mystery of a show that WandaVision was. So, let's just start off by talking about the first episode, which was titled Filmed Before a Live Studio Audience. This is the first episode that opens up the show, so it's sort of the pinnacle of if this show is going to work. And in my opinion, it was alright. It's not my favorite episode, and I don't think it's a lot of people's favorite episode, mainly because it is the first episode, and it's not really what the show is. It's introducing you to this sort of sitcom type of show that it's going to continue being. Nothing really crazy happens in it. There are no references really to previous Marvel properties, and it's not really sort of action-packed. Actually, it's not action-packed at all, and it's introducing us to the characters that we're going to be seeing in the show. Obviously, we know Wanda and Vision are going to be a part of it, but it introduces some of the side characters that we're going to see throughout the show. One in particular being Agatha, the nosy neighbor, as she's known for the first few episodes, because we don't really know who Agatha is yet. Obviously, towards the end of the show, you find out who it is, and we will talk about that when we get there. But the first episode was basic. It felt like a sitcom, but it had toward at the end of the episode, it was very there's a part where the husband is choking and the wife is just sort of stop it, and we saw that stuff in the trailers. And Wanda and Vision are just sort of looking at each other concerned and scared, it looks like, and then Wanda's just sort of Vision, help him, and then all that stuff happens. And it was a good entry into the show, I think. Even though it's not my favorite episode, it still showed people hey, this is not gonna be a typical Marvel movie that we've been seeing, or the Marvel shows that we have, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Inhumans or Runaways and stuff like that. It's completely different. It's going to be very sitcom heavy, and it's going to be very short pieces of Marvel entertainment, which is great. So that was basically the first episode. The second episode, I have the titles over here on my phone because I don't remember them at all. So the second episode was called Don't Touch That Dial. This is where more of the magic happens from like quite literally, Wanda is using magic a lot in this episode, and it's showing us the sort of side characters and how they're reacting to Wanda and Vision being like these weird out of town people that just showed up and all this weird stuff is happening. There's it actually has one of the best scenes in the whole show, and it's the magic act that Wanda and Vision perform. When Vision has he's gummed up the works, I should say. And it's just a fun episode. Again, not too much cynical stuff happens in it. It's very funny and lighthearted, and I think that's pretty much all there is to talk about that episode. It's not my favorite, again, but it's a good continuation of like, hey, this is sitcom-y. Like, we are going heavy with sitcoms. We told you we were going to, and you didn't know how sitcom-y we were going to get. This is how sitcom-y. So it was very good in that aspect. Not really much to talk about in that episode. Oh, and also there were commercials. We're gonna get to talking about what the commercials meant, or like just talking about the commercials at a later point, because they actually do have a lot of sense. But also people have talked about the commercials a lot already, so you can just look stuff up like that. But anyway, moving on to episode 3, which is titled Now in Color. This is the episode where Wanda is pregnant and magical stuff is aplenty. There's a scene where Wanda turns a butterfly mobile that you put over like a baby's crib. She turns those butterflies real and they start flying around the room. There's a scene where it starts to rain in the house. So, they're like freaking out because, well, Wanda's pregnant, and her being a witch and everything, her hormones and all that pregnancy fun stuff is occurring, but in a much more outward magical way, because she is, a witch, a Scarlet Witch, the Scarlet Witch. And she's also trying to hide the pregnancy from other people, from the other cast members, because it's very strange that, her pregnancy isn't going through 9 months. It happens all within I think a day and a half. She goes from finding out she's pregnant to giving birth like in a day and a half. So it was very, she knows that's not normal, and everyone else in the town is, normal. So she's trying to hide it and conceal that, oh, maybe they're like superheroes or like weird beings, and there's actually a really good moment in the scene where Monica's character shows up and there's a stork running around the house, and Wanda's trying to make it disappear. She's like puffing red smoke at it, but it's just not going anywhere. So that was a pretty fun scene. And that's another episode where Vision encounters Agatha and Herb, two other characters, and they're starting to act really strange. They're sort of like, Herb's like, well, we're all like, he doesn't finish his sentence because Agatha stops him, but people were thinking like, oh, maybe he's like saying we're all dead, we're all being possessed, we're all under a spell, none of this is real, all that stuff. And it gets Vision thinking like, maybe something's up with this place because everyone's acting weird. But that was a really good episode. I actually do enjoy that episode. It's one of my favorites. Just because, it's silly, it's fun, and that's where the turning point of like intensity and mystery shows up in the show. But next we move on to, I think it's probably my third favorite episode 4, called We Interrupt This Program. This is the middle point. As of the first 3 episodes, we've been following Wanda and Vision and crew in the sort of hex that Wanda has created. It's a bubble, well, I guess a hexagonal barrier that her, Vision, and the other people in the town are trapped in. They're trapped in Westview, and Wanda did that so that she could have a normal life with Vision, and like having a family and a house and being in a nice quiet town. Excuse me. And this episode takes us outside of the hex and what has been happening outside while Wanda and Vision are all doing this stuff in the hex. And this is where we meet Jimmy Woo, my favorite character in the whole show. He is the MVP. He's the best character, hands down. I don't care what any of you say. You can have your Monicas, your Billies, your Tommies, your Visions, whatever. Jimmy Woo is the OP MVP of the show, and I hope and am excited to see if they bring him back for other stuff. I hope they do. But we get introduced to Jimmy, and Monica shows up. We find out Monica was actually blipped when the snap happened in Infinity War. And during her time away, while she was dusted or blipped, her mother died of cancer. Her mother had been battling cancer for, I think they said, 5 years. And 3 years into her having cancer, the snap happened. Monica blipped. And then 5 years pass, Monica comes back, and she's in the hospital still, and she's wondering, hey, where's my mom? She was just in that room, and she had cancer. Is she, like, doing therapy or whatever again? And the doctor's like, she died, like, 3 years ago. And that's when everything sets in for Monica, and Monica's like, oh, something really bad went down. I should probably head over to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, or SWORD headquarters, and figure out what happened. Where she meets the villain of the show, I guess. The human villain, Hayward. What a dick. He is quite the asshole, and it shows immediately. He is very rude. He's like sarcastic and cocky, and he's forcing Monica to go help Jimmy with the hex, hoping that she'll get trapped in there so that he can be the leader of SWORD and all this other stuff. He's just overall a bad dude. And again, everyone has talked about this show already, so I'm just doing this review because I want to give my opinion about the show out there. So I'm not really going to go into deep lore about what happened. Plus, I want to leave mystery for you if you want to go watch it, which you should. It's on Disney Plus. All 9 episodes are out right now. It's a really good watch. If you're into like sitcoms and comedy, or if you're just into Marvel, you definitely should watch it. I highly recommend. Also, it's going to heavily tie into future projects. All their shows are. So if you want to watch the movies and understand them completely, you should watch the show. Kevin Feige has said this. But we also get introduced to Darcy. Darcy's back from the Thor movies. Kat Dennings from, Two Broke Girls or whatever. She comes in because they need to figure out what is happening with this hex. Like, what is the hex? Who's causing it? How is anything happening? Why is it a TV show now? And Darcy's there to figure that out. Jimmy is from the FBI. He's trying to find a missing persons case from his operative, I guess. He sent into the hex to try and figure it out, hoping he would come back, but he never did. So that's why Jimmy's there. Jimmy's trying to find who his guy that he sent on the inside. And Monica's there because Hayward sent her. So that's basically what happens in episode 4. We find out what's happening on the outside. So we're on the outside looking in this time, it's a very interesting concept, and it works really well for what the show is. Moving on to episode 5 on a very special episode. This is the episode where Wanda and Vision start to, I don't want to say split or go on a break, but they definitely start to butt heads because Vision is worried about, he doesn't know his past because Wanda doesn't. It's complicated, and it's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to say anything that big because, again, if you want to watch it, you should definitely do that. But Vision's figuring all this stuff out, and he's like, there's something weird going on here. Wanda, what are you doing? Because I know you have powers, and you're the only one that has powers in here other than me. So, like, what's going on? Why are you keeping my past away from me? Why are you not letting me outside the walls? Or why can't I go past this street? What's happening on the outside? And Wanda's trying to just reassure him to be like, this is okay. Like, this is our home. We're all fine. We're safe. We have a happy family, and a house. We have great neighbors. Everything is chill. And this is where their kids start to age up. So Wanda gave birth to the kids, Billy and Tommy, or in the comics, they're known as Wiccan Speed. Speed obviously has the power of speed. He's just super fast. He gets that from Wanda's brother, Pietro, who is in the show. Um, and Wiccan has her powers, Scarlet Witch's powers, his mom's powers. So he can, he has telepathy, telekinesis, reality altering powers, all that good stuff. He basically got the better end of the deal, in my opinion. But they're going through life. They find a dog in the garden and they bring it inside and they're trying to hide it. Very, very sitcom. I think this one's based off of Roseanne. This episode. And they're like washing the dog in the sink. Wanda comes in. She's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing in the kitchen?" They're like, "Nothing." And then the dog barks, obviously. Wanda's like, "Okay, you can keep the dog, but you guys are a little young for that type of responsibility." So the kids are like, "Okay, well, we're 6 right now. Well, how old do we have to be to have responsibilities and have a dog?" And Wanda goes, "Probably 10." So what do the kids do? They age up. They age up to the age of 10. Wiccan uses his powers. I'm assuming this is what happens. The big bad of the show, who we all know, probably aged them up, but they weren't in the scene. But then again, they're also a witch, so they probably just overheard. But I think Billy, who is Wiccan, did the aging up, and he used speed, Tommy's powers, to quickly age up. That's what I think happened, and I'm sticking with it. Um, so it's just overall a fun episode, And then towards the end, Wanda and Vision sort of get into a fight, and the cameo of the Sentry happens. So the end of the episode, Wanda and Vision are sitting in the kitchen after they're sitting in the living room on the couch after they were butting heads in the kitchen, very aggressively and angrily. Um, and all of a sudden, the doorbell rings, and Vision's like, "Wanda, why are you doing this? Why did you make the bell ring? Who did you send here to stop this conversation?" And Wanda's like, "I didn't do that. I don't know who this is." So then they're both a little worried and concerned. So Wanda's like, "All right, let's open the door." Um, so she grabs that doorknob, she pulls the door open, and guess who? It's Evan Peters playing Pietro Maximoff, Wanda's brother. And it's quite a shock because not only is Wanda confused, but the audience is also confused because Evan Peters, if you know, is Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, which is not connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Aaron Taylor Johnson played the Quicksilver in the MCU. So Evan Peters' Quicksilver being in the show kind of just made us all confused. Like, oh, is like some sort of multiverse sort of thing happening? Is somebody pulling from a different timeline or a different reality and bringing Evan Peters' Pietro here because the other Pietro died? Aaron Taylor Johnson Pietro died in Age of Ultron. So what's happening here? And then the episode ends. So we get the cameo, and everyone's confused, and the episode ends, and we have to wait a week to find out what that meant. That was pretty stressful. I'm not gonna lie, but luckily he is in the whole next episode, and actually kind of in the rest of the series. Hey guys, how's it going? Editing Sean back here again. So as I was editing Sean's video, I realized it was 50 minutes long, and I don't want to make you guys sit through a 50-minute video. I know you've got things to do. I've got things to do too, like edit Sean's videos. But I've cut it into 2 parts. This was part 1. If you enjoyed this part, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps him out a lot. And if you are looking forward to part 2, you can hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. It's a little bell icon. You click it, hit all notifications, and you will be notified when the part 2 of the WandaVision review goes up. Um, and, just do it, I guess, please, for me. You don't have to do it for video Sean. You can do it for editing Sean. Hi, hello. I'm nice. Look, see? I'm going to give you guys stuff. Here's a cute little puppy. Oh, look how cute. Oh, Oh, but I know not everyone's a dog person, so here's also a picture of a kitten. Aw, why don't you hit the notification bell and the subscribe button for these little guys? They would appreciate it a lot. I don't know how he ends his videos. I know I edit them and I see it all the time. I don't pay attention to him. He's such an egomaniac. He's holding me captive in this room. In his own room. I don't even like Marvel. I'm more of a DC guy. Green Lantern's my favorite movie ever. I guess you. Bye.